Okay, if you think that you are on a twin flame journey, or just consider yourself to be on the path of coming into a divine union that is here to change not only your world, but the frequency of the world around you, this message is for you. I had such an incredibly vivid dream last night regarding the twin flame union, to the point where the person in the dream quite literally said the words twin flame. And I think that it's so important, because the message that I understood from this dream, it changes everything. It makes everything so crystal clear. In the dream, I came into connection with this person, with this man who, like, right off the bat, I recognized them. It's as if I have, like, known this person before. But what they said to me was what caught me off guard, which was the fact that they were waiting for me to recognize them. They were waiting for the divine feminine to recognize them. It was as if they were like, it's as if they said, are you going to figure it out yet? Like, when are you going to figure out what the key actually is to absolving this twin flame union, to creating the union, right? To bringing it together. And so naturally, when I woke up from that dream, I was like, God. And by the way, pour rainbow portal energy like crazy. If you've been seeing rainbows, that's a sign and confirmation, because when I woke up, before I even opened my eyes, there was just rainbow prisms everywhere. And I was like, oh my God, okay, that's a big deal. And so when I woke up, I immediately am talking to God, and I'm saying, what is it that I'm missing about this? Like, what is the actual key to this? What is it that needs to be aligned, like realigned or redefined within me, that creates this energy of union? And again, I asked this question when I was walking in the forest, and what came to mind was the fact that you need to be so secure in who you are as the divine feminine. You need to know the path that you are walking. You need to know your purpose. You need to be so connected to what you feel, to that inner knowing within you, that you are either here to quite literally carry a child into this world, or birth something new into this world, maybe a new belief system, whatever it is. You are here to bring something powerful into this world, to shift the energy of the world around you. And when you are in alignment, when you are so secure within that purpose, is when your divine masculine finds you, is when your divine masculine can even recognize you. And in fact, even better is when you can recognize your divine masculine, because you have such a stronghold of clarity within you. Like, you are so secure within your sense of self, with who you are, with what you do, with how you feel, with how you think, and how you perceive the world around you. You become so secure within yourself that there's no doubt in your mind when you see this person, because there might be part of you that's like, oh, was this my person? Is this what it is? That's that indecision energy. That's that confusion energy that you're feeling when you're in connection to somebody, because you don't fully know who you are yet. But that is changing. You are quite literally in this portal energy, this transformative energy, transcendent, I should say. Like, you are crossing that threshold into who you are truly meant to be in this world. You need to become so serious about the way that you are showing up for yourself. And here's where it just all, like, chef's kiss was brought together when I was talking to God in the forest. God told me that you need to be able to know when you are speaking to a man, when you are speaking to that person, immediately, based on the answers that they give you, if they are in alignment with your path and purpose. And that is why it is so important that you become secure in who you are, because when you are secure in who you are, a conversation with a man is going to tell you everything about them. If you know that you are meant to bring a child into this world, or if you know that you are meant to make millions of dollars, you are meant to create something in this world that has such a powerful impact on so many people's lives, and you are meant to be become rich, and then take that wealth and turn it into something that helps and that guides and that supports this new earth that's being created. If you know that, and you meet somebody who is not on that same frequency, who is interested in settling, who is very happy with where they're at, who isn't interested in growing or expanding, or doesn't have any ideas of like what they want to do with their life, you end that conversation ends there. That connection with that person ends there. Your discernment needs to come online right now. And I believe that is what is happening for you, and why everything is felt as if it's like shifting and moving and rearranging around you. That conversation has a beginning, a discovery, and an end. That's it. And you don't keep pursuing that connection. You are ready for this next level of discernment, because that level of discernment is going to keep you clear. It is going to keep you focused. It is going to keep you secure. Every time that you say no to the universe of what you don't actually want, the universe says, oh, okay, that's not what she wants. Let's try something else. You have to be able to say no to what you do not want and recognize what is not in alignment with who you are and who you are here to become, who you are here to remember you are, and what is. And the key to remembering what is and recognizing that man, that masculine who is in alignment with you, and even beyond the masculine energy, the union, the purpose, the career, the opportunities, you become secure when you know when to say no, and you also learn when to say yes. So if this resonates with you and you feel like you are in that transcendence, you are crossing that threshold and you are ready to really dive into those layers of yourself and get so clear and empowered by who you are in this world, comment I rise, and I will send you the details for tonight's full moon live guided ceremony or the chance to work with me one-on-one. Dear soul, before you leave, don't let this moment become just another video you watched. If these words stirred something deep inside you, it's because God wanted your heart to hear them today. Right now, stop for just a moment and speak this promise over your life. I am chosen. I am deeply loved. I am not forgotten. God is writing a beautiful story through my life, and His promises for me will not fail. Say it again, slowly. Let every word sink into place of the places where fear has lived. Let it reach the parts of your heart that have grown and tired of waiting. Let it remind you that heaven has never taken its eyes off you, not for a single second. No matter what you've lost, no matter how many tears you've cried in silence, no matter how lonely this journey has felt, God is still working behind the scenes. Your breakthrough is not canceled. Your purpose is not lost. Your love story is still in His hands. If this message gave you a little hope today, please don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who feels forgotten, someone who has been praying through tears, someone who needs to know that God still sees them. You may never know how one simple share could become the answer to another person's prayer. And if God places it on your heart to support this mission through a super thanks, know that every gift, whether it's $5, $10, $20, or whatever you feel led to give, helps these messages reach more people searching for hope in their darkest moments. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for standing with this ministry. I pray that God blesses your generosity beyond anything you can imagine, opens doors no one can shut, heals every hidden wound, restores everything you've been believing for, and fills your life with His peace, His favor, and His perfect timing. Remember this, dear soul, you are never alone, you are deeply loved, and the God who began a good work in you will be faithful to finish it. Hold on just a little longer. Your testimony is still being written. There are seasons in life that arrive so quietly you almost miss them. Nothing dramatic happens. The same streets greet you in the morning. The same people pass by without noticing the battle, Howie hidden behind a smile. The same cup of coffee grows cold beside the window, while your thoughts wander somewhere your eyes cannot follow. Yet, deep inside, something has already begun to change. It feels like standing at the edge of a bridge before taking the first step. You cannot see what waits on the other side. All you know is that the person you have been can no longer carry you where your heart wants to go. Maybe that is where your story begins. Not with another person, with yourself. For so long, you believed the missing piece of your life existed somewhere outside of you. You imagined that one conversation, one meeting, or one perfect relationship would finally make everything make sense. You searched for signs in ordinary moments. You wondered if every unexpected encounter meant something more. But every answer seemed to disappear the moment you reached for it. And that uncertainty became exhausting. One evening, after carrying questions that had no easy answers, you sat alone in complete silence. Not because you wanted to be alone, because you were tired. Tired of chasing certainty. Tired of wondering whether you were enough. Tired of hoping that someone else would finally recognize the parts of you that you struggled to recognize yourself. Sometimes life becomes quiet for one reason, so you can finally hear your own heart. That realization did not arrive like thunder. It arrived like dawn, slowly, softly, almost unnoticed. You started asking different questions. I didn't stop asking, who is meant for me? Who am I becoming? That single question changed everything. It made you notice things you had ignored for years. You remembered dreams that had quietly collected dust because you spent so much energy waiting for someone else to choose you. You remembered passions that once made your eyes light up before fear convinced you they were unrealistic. You remembered the version of yourself that laughed freely before disappointment taught you to become careful with your heart. Something beautiful began happening. Not around you, inside you. Each morning became a small promise. You started showing up for yourself in tiny ways. You finished things you once abandoned. You kept promises you had made only to yourself. You became kinder to the person staring back at you in the mirror. None of it seemed extraordinary. Until one day, you realized your life no longer revolved around waiting. It revolved around living. That it is a very different kind of freedom. You deserve to hear this today. You do not have to become someone else to deserve a meaningful relationship. The healthiest love begins when you stop believing you have to earn your own worth. There is a strange thing about confidence. It does not announce itself loudly. It simply removes the need to ask for permission. As you became more certain about your values. Your choices became clearer. You no longer felt the need to convince people, understand your heart. You no longer confused attention with connection. You no longer accepted conversations that left you feeling smaller than when they began. Instead, you started listening. Not only to what people said, but to what their lives quietly revealed. Some people spoke beautifully about dreams. Others quietly lived theirs. Some promised growth. Others chose comfort every single day. You began noticing the difference. And once you notice it, it becomes impossible to pretend you do not. That is one of life's greatest gifts. Discernment, not judgment, not pride. Simply the quiet ability to recognize what belongs in your life and what does not. At first, saying no felt uncomfortable. You worried about disappointing people. You worried about missing opportunities. You wondered if your standards had become too high. Then another realization found you. Every time you said yes to something that was wrong for your heart, you were saying no to something that might truly fit your future. That thought stayed with you. It changed the way you walked through life. Instead of chasing every possibility, you started protecting your peace. Unexpectedly, life became lighter. Then something happened that you never saw coming. The loneliness you feared began teaching you confidence. No one expects loneliness to become a teacher, yet sometimes it introduces us to ourselves more honestly than company ever could. The days continued unfolding. Some were joyful. Others carried old memories that appeared without warning. There were mornings when you questioned your progress. Even healing has moments when yesterday suddenly feels close again. That does not mean you are moving backward. It means your heart is remembering how to let go gently instead of all at once. Growth rarely moves in straight lines. It moves like the tide. Forward, back, then farther forward than before. One afternoon, you noticed something almost impossible to explain. People responded differently to you, not because your appearance had changed dramatically, because your presence had. You spoke with more honesty. You smiled without trying so hard. You stopped shrinking your dreams so other people would feel comfortable beside you. Confidence is contagious, not because it demands attention, because it gives other people permission to become authentic too. Then came another unexpected turn. The person you thought would complete your story became the reason you finally started writing your own. Sometimes the people who change our lives are not meant to stay forever. Sometimes they arrive to awaken something sleeping inside us, and once it awakens, our entire future begins changing. that truth is both beautiful and painful, because it asks us to stop measuring love only by who stays. Instead, it teaches us to measure it by who we become. Perhaps that is the deepest lesson of all. The greatest relationships are not built by two incomplete people searching for missing pieces. They are built by two whole people walking toward a shared purpose. When you know what matters most to you, conversations become different. You begin listening beneath the words. Does this person encourage growth? Do they respect kindness? Can they celebrate your dreams without feeling threatened by them? Can they build something with you instead of expecting you to carry everything alone? These questions matter, not because perfection exists, but because direction matters more than appearances. A relationship cannot thrive if two hearts are walking toward different futures. There comes a point when choosing yourself no longer feels selfish. It feels responsible. You cannot pour your entire soul into building someone else's life while quietly abandoning your own. Your dreams deserve your loyalty too. If you have been doubting yourself lately, hear this. You are allowed to outgrow places where your heart no longer feels at peace. You are allowed to protect your future even when other people do not understand your reasons. And most importantly, you're allowed to believe that your life holds more than the disappointments you have already survived. As time passed, something settled inside you. Not certainty about every answer. Something even better. Trust. Trust that you could recognize what aligned with your values. Trust that you could walk away from what did not. Trust that your future did not depend on forcing doors to remain open. The fear that once followed you everywhere slowly lost its voice. It no longer controlled every decision. Because confidence had quietly taken its place. Looking back, you realize something remarkable. You had spent years believing your greatest journey would begin when you finally met the right person. Instead, it began the moment you finally met yourself. That realization changed everything. The search that once felt desperate became peaceful. The future no longer looked frightening. It looked full of possibility. Whatever meaningful connections waited ahead, they would not define your worth. They would simply share the life you had already begun building with courage. And perhaps that is the ending every heart hopes for. Not an ending where every question disappears, but one where you no longer need every answer before choosing joy. Life has a beautiful way of meeting people who are walking with intention, not because the road is easy, because they have learned who they are while traveling it. So keep becoming the person your younger self dreamed of meeting. Keep honoring the values that make your heart feel alive. Keep choosing growth over comfort whenever your soul quietly asks for more. One day, you may look back at this season and smile. Not because it was painless, because it transformed you, because it taught you that clarity is stronger than confusion, that purpose is stronger than fear, and that the strongest foundation any relationship can ever stand on is a person who has learned to stand firmly within themselves. That is where every meaningful chapter begins, and perhaps that is exactly where yours has already started.